Good afternoon, everybody. As I've said before, I'm going to start trying to cook some recipes out of some books I got at a estate sale. I found this one also, the Bayou Cookbook, Creole Cooking from the Plantation Country in New Orleans. And this has someone's name in it and bought in New Orleans, Louisiana in July 1989. So this is vintage as well. I went through here and, in most of these books, there's things I don't have, but this is stuff I had on hand. So I'm going to make the beef and rice with cheese. This calls for 2 cups of rice, 1 pound of ground beef, a fourth of a cup cooking oil, a tablespoon of chili powder, 2 teaspoons salt, a fourth a teaspoon garlic powder, chopped onion, tomato sauce, 3 cups of water, and a package of sharp cheddar cheese. I didn't have the sharp, so I'm going to use, this is an 8 ounce of the creamy 3 cheese, which has the Monterey Jack and cheddar in it, and then substitute the rest for this 4 state cheddar. So let me get everything started and I will be right back. Okay, so the first thing it says to do is to brown the hamburger meat with 1 large onion. And as y'all know, I like to use these diced onions and peppers, this blend. So I'm going to go ahead and pour what I think is about an onion, about a large onion in there. It's just got a little bit of peppers in there. I don't think that's going to hurt the recipe or anything. So I'm going to get these sauteed together. It says to do this for 15 minutes and then you add in your seasoning. So just give it just a few minutes and I'll be back. Okay, y'all, I know it said to saute and then it says to pull off the fire and add all your other ingredients, but I always like to cook my meat with my seasoning. So I'm going to go ahead and season the meat. You could do that or not, and of course, I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to kind of, throw it in there. Okay, had to answer the phone. So I'm going to put my salt and my pepper. Again, the recipe says to brown the meat and then put everything in, but this is just my preference. I just think that, put the seasoning so that the meat absorbs some of it. So now it says chili powder. Let me see. It did say a tablespoon, so I'm going to go ahead and open this and put what I think is about a tablespoon. So, okay, that should do it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish browning this with the seasonings, and then I will be back. We're just supposed to just take this off the fire and throw the rest of the ingredients in here. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. If you've ever cooked out of an antique or vintage, you'll notice that the directions, there's not a whole lot. I guess they figured everybody knew how to cook. I'm not sure. But it says 2 cans of tomato sauce. It doesn't say the size. So I'm using the smaller ones. I'm just going to turn my fire off here. I'm going to use the 2 small ones, but after I mix everything, if it looks like I need more, I do have a large can over to the side. So I'm going to pour my rice, and that's 2 cups of rice, and this is 3 cups of water. Now on the cheese, it says to make sure the cheese is well distributed. So I'm thinking that some of the cheese goes in the mix, and then I'll put some of the cheese on the top. It doesn't say that. That's just the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to get this nice and stirred up, and then it's going to go into it says a 2-quart casserole dish. And again, everybody had those Pyrex, 2-quart container, dishes. I'm going to put it in. I've got a 2-quart rectangular cooking dish. So I'm going to pour it in that, and then it's going to be, it says it's supposed to be greased. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the cheese. I said I'm not sure. This is just my thoughts on it. It's just I'm gonna mix some into it, and then I'm gonna put the rest on the top. This looks like it's gonna be tomatoey enough, so maybe they did mean the small cans. I will taste it right before, just to make sure if it tastes like it, if it has like very little flavor, because the rice is going to absorb the liquids and all that. So 1 minute. Okay, now I know why it said casserole dish, because it's got a lid on it and it's probably deeper. But I'm just going to go ahead. I got it all in there. And again, I don't think this could fit any more liquid, so I'm going to go with it being just those 2 cans of tomato sauce. So this goes in the oven at 400 degrees. It says cover tightly. So I'm going to put aluminum foil on the top, and I am going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees. It says, be sure to cover, bake for 1 hour at 400 degrees. Then you're going to take the lid off. You're going to gently stir it, and then you are going to put it back in the oven at, put it back in the oven at 350. It says let's turn it down. So I'm going to say 350 for another 30 minutes. I guess that's just to make sure your rice is done. So I guess what I'm going to do, I'm going to see how it looks after an hour. If I can just take the lid, I'll probably take the lid off. If not the last 30 minutes, then at least the last 15 to brown the top, since I am putting the cheese on the top. Now, if you mix the cheese directly into it, then, you know, I guess you probably wouldn't need to do that. But anyway, we're trying a new recipe, so we will see how it goes. So I'm going to get this covered well and then put it in the oven 400 degrees for 1 hour. Okay, so first thing I'll say is mistakes were made. If you're going to make this dish, put it in a 9 by 13 pan or a deeper casserole dish, because this overflowed in the bottom of the oven. This is the second thing I had. When I went and stirred it after the 45 minutes, I did have to put another can of tomato sauce in there and a can of water because it was drying out. So again, live and learn. So if you're going to make this recipe, do use 3 small cans or 2 big cans of the tomato sauce and with the water. So I'm going to let this rest just a few minutes. I did do the hour, and then I did 30 minutes. I covered it up, uncovered it for 5 minutes, and put it on broil just to kind of like cook the top. So I will let this rest a minute, and then we're going to give it a taste. Okay, so it's been resting about 5 minutes. I've taken out a piece to kind of like let it cool off a little bit, because as you can imagine, an hour and a half in the oven, it's going to be hot. I'm going to give it a try. It's pretty good. I think adding the onion mix with the bell peppers kind of give it a little bit more color. I did add a little bit extra salt also when I added the extra can of tomato sauce. But I mean, it's good. I live and learn. Like I said, I would put the cheese like I did inside, but I would wait to put the cheese on the top until the last cook, and then when I took the top off and broiled the top with the little bit extra cheese, so you would have that nice cheesy layer on the top. As far as the flavor goes, though, it has a good flavor. It's got a little bit of a kick because of the chili powder. I mean, not much because it's just chili powder, but it does have a little bit of a kick to it. Definitely, I think this is a good meal. It kind of reminds me of Spanish rice, if that's, you know, I think that's the closest I can come to it. But it's good. It's good. I'll definitely make it again. I'll make it in a bigger pan because, like I said, you can see, I mean, it had boiled over. I had to put a pan underneath it on the next shelf down because it was dripping everywhere. You know, so definitely live and learn. But anyway, if y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy, y'all. Oh, real quick, I am at 997 people. So if you're seeing me for the first time, if you'd give me a like and I could get to that 1,000 mark, I would really appreciate it. I want to brag to my grandsons. That's all. Just brag to my grandsons. Y'all have a good one.